Hello, everybody. I will start introducing myself a little bit. I am the CEO of ITCROSS. ITCROSS is a company that has global implementations as its business focus. We mainly help global clients to roll out to different locations with, well, a lot of experience in Latin America in particular. Because of this focus, integrations and localizations is a big part of our job. We not only work with JD Edwards, but also with Oracle Cloud, OCI, and also Cloud ERP. We started with ERP Cloud in 2015, so that is another area of our business. We have offices in Spain, that is a new one. We have some in the last years we had some European clients, so we finally decided to open a branch in Spain, but of course also in Argentina, as Alexandra said, Mexico and the United States. We are very proud of some Oracle awards we have received, in particular one called deploying and positioning JD Edwards in different geographies, because it is well, the heart of our business. I will take questions by the end of the session, but if we run out of time, I have Maggie of my team here with me today as well. She will take all the questions and we will contact you after the session if necessary. So which is the agenda today? We will start talking a little bit about JD Edwards localization. What does JD Edwards offer? That is our usual approach. It is very important to know what does JD Edwards provide in terms of bank integrations for not customizing or developing if it is not necessary, of course. We will then speak about which is this usual business challenge global companies face with bank payments automation or banks integration, and of course what does ITCROSS offer as a solution for standardizing them or solving them in the different locations. We will speak a little bit about the Oracle Validated Integration Program and why it is important that a partner solution has this certification. And we will finish the session speaking about another important challenge, that is transmitting these files to the banks and which are the alternatives for this. Well, what does JD Edwards offer? Regions in the world are very different, and so it is JD Edwards localization. For knowing exactly what does JD Edwards provide for the country we are implementing on, or we are going to roll out to, there are two sources or two documents where I always recommend our customers to look at first. Of course, we are here to help on this, but if you're JD Edwards customers, you have this information. One of them is a document I love that from my Oracle support. That is the one you see in the slide now. It has all the information that you need about localizations and the latest announcement for this localization. So if you have doubts about well, what is included in the localization of the JD Edwards release you can take a look at this document ID. You will see three columns in this chart, and the last one, that is the announcement, is the last thing that GD Edwards posted for this country. So you can look for, in this case, for payment integration information in this site. But also you have the GD Edwards Help Center documents that it is also very useful, and all localizations are here together. What is good from this site is that it has this search engine where you can simply enter payments in the case we are talking about today, and you will see everything connected with payments for the localizations around the world. But if we need to mention what does GD Edwards offer in their standard product for payment automation, we have, well, in Europe, the SEPA XML files generation. This is, there are some certain gaps. This is for domestic payments. The UK is still a SEPA member, so they still have that. But, well, if you're a global client and you need to roll out to other regions, or you have a high volume of foreign payments, you might face the need of an integration different from SEPA. In the US, you have a localization for positive pay. I don't know if there are some United States attendees here today, but checks are a very usual payment term, payment instrument in this country. And you can generate positive pay electronic files with an application that GD Edwards provides. So there is something for that, but again, in other regions or for foreign payments, that is not enough. In China, you have the famous CNAO XML files, a huge XML file for electronic payments. And in Latin America, where you have 20 countries, there's no payment standard at all in the region. So you don't have, you have nothing like SEPA for Europe, for the region as a law or as a regulation. So you don't have that either in GD Edwards. You have something for Brazil, but not some common program for all the region. So that is the first thing to know. What does GD Edwards provide to, well, to start the road of how can we standardize this integration. What is the business case apart from GD Edwards? If you're a global company that you and you have foreign payments, or you work with different banks, and banks are different in all your locations, you will have this need of developing an integration for generating electronic files from these payments. But you will also face the fact that the banks require different information, and it can be different depending on the country as well, even if it is the same bank, and that the format can be also different. Some of them with the text file is fine, and others accept XML files. And as I said in the beginning, transmitting automatic, if you want not only to generate these electronic files, but also transmit them automatically to the banks, you will also have some limitations and restrictions due to your infrastructure or your technical technical possibilities, and also the technical possibilities that the bank has or requests. Okay, so this is what we tried to solve, and this was our business case and what we're seeing in several of our clients. There is one more situation that is usual. That is for those companies, those global companies that are already a global implementation, but they go to a different region. They start with a different, like South America, for instance. Sometimes they do have an integration for solving the countries they have implemented, but that integration does not work, or is not enough for a region like Latin America that has so many differences between from country to country. So that is even with clients that have tried to solve it for most of their installed base, they still face the issue at some point of, well, adding new countries. And the solution they have or the development they have done is not enough. Okay, so what does ITCROSS offer for solving this situation? Is it possible to reach real standardization? To me, the answer is yes, but you still need to combine. This is our main suggestion. You still, it is beneficial for you to always combine standard GD Edwards with with some development that can solve the gap between the localization and your business need. And for us, the only way to gain this common solution between all the countries, reaching at the same time the fact that you don't spend a lot of money in the future for maintaining it, for changing it. We're speaking about banks. You can change the bank you work with. This is not a law in general, so the bank can change the information they request. They can change the format. They can change their technology. So a lot of changes can happen in the future in this type of integrations. So the only way to avoid all these future changes, to avoid high maintenance costs, and to create something that can be common for different countries is to develop an integration that can be configurable. And this is the ITCROSS approach. This is the heart of all the integrations we have developed, not only these bank integrations, but all the other ones. We have, I will mention them by the end of the session. We have several integrations that are also configurable for solving other type of global requirements, like the electronic invoice, for instance, that it is also another thing, that is another concept that is shared for a lot of countries, but that has huge differences from countries to countries. Okay, so an integration that can be where templates can be built with setup are the only ones that can avoid changes in the future, code changes, deployments, packages, and objects promotion. And the only ones that where your key users can be trained and that can do changes and maintain in the future. So that is our approach. So what does, going a bit deeper in our solution, what will the ITCROSS solution offer? It is a tool where you can configure your integration templates for the different banks. It doesn't matter which country you're working with, and it is not licensed by country. So once you get the solution, you can use it in any location you have, and you can create as many templates as you want. So if you work with 15 banks in one country, you can create all of them and you don't pay more for that. What does this configurable tool do? It allows you to map the fields of, in this case, the payments tables. So you are the one that will be building or creating this template for every bank you work with, mapping the different fields of the JD Edwards tables. You will be able to configure also which is the output of this file generation, if a text file or an XML file. We will take a look at it in a few minutes. And this integration, as well as other solutions we have, is an Oracle validated integration. So that is the second important feature of our solutions. They are configurable and they are Oracle validated integrations. The Oracle validated integration, I don't know if you have heard about it, it's an important Oracle program that is offered to partners that develop their own solutions. And Oracle, it is a tough program, but if you pass the program, customers acquiring this solution can be sure that the solution has been developed using Oracle development standards. So it is correctly developed. It will migrate without issues. In this case, they certify that it is documented and it works as it is in the documentation, and that it runs perfectly with the last or with the latest JD Edwards release. Okay, so this is a validation that was achieved by ITCROSS in all the solutions we offer. Let's talk a little bit more about this configuration feature. All the integrations we offer are built on a tool we have created that we call it internally the layout manager. The layout manager is the one that defines this data extraction that you're going to do. Okay, it is completely developed with the JD Edwards toolkit. As I mentioned, you're going to be able to build the template, pick all the fields from the JD Edwards tables that you would like the file to have in the order you would like them to show up. And again, as we take advantage of all the standard JD Edwards tools as much as possible, this data extraction is going to be first updated on the text processor, and then it is going to go to a shared folder that you're going to set up. As I said, you can create XML files, and there is a plugin that will transform this text file in XML if that is the setup that you have chosen. That is the internal, that is the tool inside, but from the user's perspective, how does the process change? Almost nothing, I would have to tell. The user, this is nothing in between the write and the update process of the automatic payments. This file generation is done after the payment is updated. So the users will approve the vouchers as usual. They will do the write and the update process and the posting process. And after that, the integration will run. It can be run manually, or it can be in a scheduler, of course, for the user. Maybe it can be totally blank for the user once it is set up. So for the end user, it is very simple. Here I have some screenshots of the layout manager, this configuration tool inside the solution for you to see how it looks like. The first thing I would like to mention, I don't know if you can see it very well, but if you see the system code of the main application, it starts with PQ75. Q75 is the system code that Oracle has assigned to ITCROSS for developing these solutions. So this is just another way you can see, well, that you can identify very well which objects are part of our solution. And again, the Oracle validated integration is showed also in the system code. If I click on the layout manager, in this example, there are 3 templates. This is some company in Mexico that has 3 templates for the 3 different banks. I will double click on the first one, and each template has 2 main screens. The first one is the file definition. Okay, the file definition are, well, the general definitions of the file I will create for this bank. The data source is a very important field to define. As I said, this configuration tool is used in many of our applications, so we need to define which is the data source, which is the group of tables we are going to map or to use in this integration. As you can see in this one, data source 06 is the one for payments. So all the tables and fields linked to payments are the ones we are going to see if we do this setup. Then you can also set up the field delimiter, the decimal separator, the date format, as it can be different from country to country. It also happened to us many times that the name of the file we need to generate needs to have certain names, so that is also configurable. And of course, the path or the path of the file we're going to create can be part of this configuration. If we go to the detailed part of the template definition, in this case, you can see, well, certain fields. And if you take a look at the third column, you will see the field type. You have a U, a T, and there is another one that is X that is missing here, but I will explain it anyway. All the lines that are T-type are JD Edwards fields. Okay, so those are the ones that are a field of some table linked to payments or the address book for suppliers. Then you have the U fields that are user-defined fields. And there are a lot of layouts that we had to build in the past where the banks request some fixed text or legend or prefix. So you can create those fields and you can place them on your layout. And finally, you have the X type that I said, well, it is missing in this screen. The X type lines are fields that have some predefined logic. Let me give you an example. It is in some countries, payments have withholdings. And it is sometimes usual that banks request well, the gross amount of the payment, the withholdings amount, and also the net amount. So for the net amount of the payment, we have already prepared a field that does this calculation. Okay, so that is an example of a predefined field that sums up some others that are very usual in certain countries. Okay, so you have those type of fields available for your mapping. Of course, you can put this in the sequence you could like, and well, that will basically define your template for a bank. And with some other setup that you need to do for the bank, when the user runs the payment, it will be creating this file for the banks. Why do we encourage our client to automate this process or to standardize it in the different locations instead of doing different integrations for the different countries? Mainly because of the cost reduction. We are speaking about a lot less maintenance efforts in the future. As you can see, you will be the owner of this configurable tool. If you need a new template, you can simply set it up. You don't need more consulting hours in the future to do this. If you stop working with the bank and you start working with another one, you will be the one creating with setup different integrations or different integrations that in the past would have been a development. Of course, you will be, in case of an upgrade, you will be avoiding retrofit. We have this, of course, this is available for JD Edwards 9.2, but we also have clients that are still in 9.0 and 9.1, and the integration is working well in all of them. So one thing that is very important for clients that are not in 9.2 is that using this type of integration will avoid a lot of retrofit and testing during the upgrades. Okay, they will upgrade perfectly. And of course, well, you're working with one same integration for the different countries. Okay, it is one versus different integrations for different countries. You gain time as well. Okay, you're automating a process that is not because it is banks. You will be saving time for the treasurer if you automate this process against manually entering payments in the bank side. And of course, you will be dealing just with one vendor that is us in all the countries for this type of integration. Let me speak a little bit about, let me see, well, the time, just to leave some minutes for the Q&A. Another thing that I would like to mention is which are the alternatives for transmitting the file to the bank. So the ITCROSS solution is for generating these files. You have all this flexibility for generating the different templates and the different format types for the banks. But what if you want to completely automate the process and to automatically transmit it to the bank? Well, here it is another uphill battle because you will be, well, restricted for many different situations. One of these is, do you have money for a complete transmission? A lot of times, mainly in regions like the one I mentioned, Latin America, you have small businesses. So doing a complete transmission means a lot of money for a small business and with few volume. But if that is not the case and you work with the same bank in a lot of locations, it is a good idea to analyze, well, let's do a whole transmission, not only the file generation. So I have placed the different alternatives that we used to consider as a team, and from simpler to most complex, or maybe to less expensive to more expensive. For the situations where we have a lot of these bank integrations in small businesses, our customers' decisions actually used to be to manually upload the generated XML file and text file into the bank site. So they generate the file, and they stop the automation at that point. Okay, so that is pretty much the alternative for the locations or the countries where you don't have budget for a complete transmission. But if you want to go a bit further, the other alternative that you can consider is, of course, doing transmission with the Orchestrator. But I need to be, I need to tell you something here that, well, we face this in many of the situations where we tried to use the Orchestrator. We run into the issue that the bank works with SOAP protocol only, and the Orchestrator works with REST, so we couldn't do this. My team, my integration team, checked, and it is aware that in my Oracle support, there are some requests from customers asking that the Orchestrator can also work with SOAP services. But it is a request so far. So for using the Orchestrator, you will need to work with a bank that accepts REST. What happens if that is not the situation? And again, that is what used to happen to us, well, at least in the projects in the last years. The other alternative is, of course, developing a business service. That is doable. You can, now we are speaking about development. Until now, we're talking about a totally configurable solution, and you could transmit it with the Orchestrator. That is also considered configuration. But if now we are speaking about development, that can be a bit longer project, but can also, I wouldn't leave this option away. I would analyze it if you have a lot of these integrations, and this is the case because the times we have done this, I now remember a case in Central America that a client that developed a business service, and in a lot of countries they have the same bank and or another bank, but this business service could be used to do the second one and the other. So there were very few differences between the ones they had to develop. Okay, so it is not necessarily that you need to develop one business service for every bank you have. What I say is it is worth analyzing this situation because it can be very beneficial for the business to do a complete automation until the transmission to the bank. And the last alternative you have, and I also think it is worth mentioning it, of course, you're not going to buy another product just for one type of integration, but if you are a company with a lot of integrations with third parties, and you would like to rethink your integrations architecture, I don't know if you heard about it, but or if you know how it works, but Oracle Integration Cloud is a great product. We have a lot of experience on it. Our cloud integrations team, some of the people worked with JD Edwards a lot of years, and they love Oracle Integration Cloud as well. And well, of course, you can do this transmission and any other with Oracle Integration Cloud and having all the integrations in one console. But again, this is talking about Oracle Integration Cloud is for another session. It means buying another product and not just JD Edwards. But if we are speaking about a wider integrations architecture, it is also worth analyzing it. Well, as I mentioned before, we have a lot of other integrations, many of them linked to solving fiscal gaps between localization and legal requirements in the countries. And we are now revalidating, we are going through the Oracle validated integration process again. You know what is that the 64-bit version is coming, so we are revalidating our solutions so that you can be sure that they work with the version that is going to come. Final messages of this session. My always suggestion for global clients is simplifying as much as possible and standardizing as much as possible. And integrations are not a way of this simplification. You can do that by developing or having configurable applications. I really believe that global companies need global solutions, and this is the best way to have a strong global model and to spend less on maintenance costs in the future. And something that I didn't mention, but if all these tools that are configurable are also quick to implement, so it is not a long development project as if you have to develop it. It is a short implementation project. Two reference cases. Omron Corporation, here the example is with other of the solutions, but what they highlight of our configurable solutions is not also the less cost that they have saved on maintenance time, but the fact that once they have automated the process, they of course have a lot of less human mistakes in the project, in the process. So that was very important for them. Heinz is another reference client that uses our solutions, and they have highlighted the cost they saved during the years because of having acquired our solution, but they also mention the less time they are saving when automating the process. Let me, so this is all for today. Here are my contact details. You can remember we are now in Spain.